Quinn says one mother actually sold her 13-year-old daughter to a drug dealer.
When you have a girl who's come up with that sort of background, who's been made to have sex with her mother's parade of horribles from the time she's 5 or 6 years old, is it a big stretch that she's going to go out and sell her body for money?
Like many victims, Sheila suffered years of rape, physical, and mental torture. She turned to drugs to cope with the trauma.
When I was a child, okay, my dream was not to grow up and be a prostitute addicted to crack, okay? The reality of it is, though, selling your body is pretty degrading, okay? And you are going to find something to help medicate the feelings that come behind doing what you do. And so most women end up on drugs trying to medicate the feelings that they're feeling from degrading their bodies.
Sheila has been trafficked from Florida all the way to California. At one point, Nashville, Tennessee was her main spot during the summer.
And we would work up there at Park Plus Boulevard. There was a corner right there where there's a bank and there's just like this little island. And we would stand out there 10 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning. That was our shift.
If Sheila did not make $1,000 a day, her pimp would severely beat her.
I had an iron, beat me in my head with an iron, a 6-inch stiletto for when I got a hole on my head, literally, with a 6-inch stiletto, pieces of wood, wire hangers, whatever he chose to pick up to beat me with. And they'd always go to the main source, the brain. They'd beat the head up because they didn't want to damage the face because that was their money. And then after they beat you up, they put your head under cold water until the bleeding stopped and then tell you to get over it and get back out there and get the money.
Sometimes Sheila would have to serve more than a dozen Johns to make what she needed.
It really just depend on who picked me up. Some people would feel sorry for me and give me more than what I needed. It just really all depends on the individual. But I'd say the most that I would have to do is probably 15 to get the 1,000 that I needed.
And Johns come from all walks of life, often not caring how their actions may impact others.
Because you'll find that most of the men are married, okay, and they're coming out, having sex with these women. And I've had some Johns that actually paid me extra money not to use a condom, not worrying about what they're going to take home to their wife, and so shame on them. That's what I got to say to them, shame on them.
Many perpetrators are prowling for young children.
There are individuals out there who are trolling for very young girls, and they're willing to pay. He was willing to pay $5,000 for 2 hours for a girl that was just over 8 and not over 16. The youngest girl that we know of that's in treatment right now in Middle Tennessee is 3.
And if there are plenty of Johns, there will be plenty of victims.
Just the laws of economics tell you as long as there is a demand, there will be a supply. I think if he's got a younger girl, I think he's making anywhere from, I think on a low night he's making $500, and I think on a good night he's making $2,000 a night. And he can work her 7 nights a week.
Right now, the market of sex typically does not happen on a street, avenue, or lane anymore. It happens somewhere on the World Wide Web.
If you just look at Backpage.com, for instance, on any given day, you'll see ad after ad that says, only in town for 2 days, just back in town, leaving tonight, last night special. So we know that these victims and women and men or young boys being transported all over our state, our region, our country. And so catching them and the perpetrators who are promoting this activity, very difficult.
But simply shutting down websites would not fix the problem.
I understand why the attorneys general wanted to shut down Craigslist. I understand that Backpage is one of the largest purveyors of sexual advertising in the country. They make a lot of money off sex advertising every year. But I'm not sure it really does us any good to shut them down, because we shut them down, they just go to another site.
Another major hurdle is identifying victims.
When the TBI published its report to the legislature in May of 2011, we were astounded to learn that of the 1,000 people that responded to our survey, 79% didn't think their agencies were adequately trained to recognize and identify cases of human sex trafficking.
It was difficult for Sheila to trust others, especially when it came to authority.
From 14 to 18, it was kind of like on and off because I would get picked up by the police, get put into a group home or a foster home. I'd run away. I've been in the ranch in California. I've been in California Youth Authority because I was a runner. It's not because I was actually committing crimes. I just ran.
And getting out of the lifestyle could take years, sometimes decades, if ever. For Sheila, it seemed like a nightmare she could never wake up from.
I ran off a couple of times. I don't know how he'd find me, but he would find me. I mean, I ran from Memphis and went to El Paso, Texas. I was working at the Red Parrot. I'll never forget it. I was walking down the stairs from the stage, and there he was. And I'm just like, damn, I'm never going to be able to get away from this man.
But then came the Magdalene House. The program offers housing, food, medical care, education, and job training for women who have survived prostitution, trafficking, and addiction.
What they did is they focused on all the bad things that happened to me before I led to the street and got me into therapy. You know what I mean? Taught me how to learn to love myself, because I didn't go into the Magdalene program trying to get my life back. Some women do go in the program trying to get their life back. I went into the program to learn how to live because I had nothing to get back, I was just trying to learn how to live, and they guided me through the whole way, I think they had done a pretty darn good job, too.
Sheila worked the program and eventually dropped her 22-year drug habit.
It's okay, I'm really okay with who I am today, you know what I mean? And my past is exactly what it is. It's my past. It's not who defines me today. It is what made me who I am today, though. It helped me be the strong woman that I am, because I'm a very, very strong woman that truly has a desire to give back and to help women just like me.
Today, Sheila works with In Slavery Tennessee, a Magdalene House, to help prostitutes get the best resources possible. But many victims are not so lucky. Lots of them end up on the streets, or worse, dead, and there are not enough places they can turn for help.
A lot of services for individuals who are convicted of crimes. A lot of rehabilitation services for a rapist or a sex offender. Nothing for the victim. The state doesn't pay for anything for the victim. We need to do a better job of providing services, adequate services to victims of human trafficking.
Often, there's a distinction made between human sex trafficking and prostitution. But why? Can you really have one without the other?
Prostitution is an inherently violent crime. It is an extraordinarily violent crime. I haven't talked to a prostitute yet, a survivor yet, that was not also a human trafficking victim. Can she be a prostitute on Tuesday and a human trafficking victim on Wednesday? You bet she can. If what we need to prove is force, fraud, or coercion, we can probably prove that 4 nights out of the 7 every week.
Many times the victims are the only ones who are punished. But now, some states, including Tennessee, are decriminalizing prostitution penalties for minors and looking to cuff stiffer penalties on traffickers.
In our state 3 years ago, it was a Class A misdemeanor to sell a 14-year-old for sex. Now it's a Class A or B felony.
That conviction can come with a 12 to 15-year prison sentence, but not all countries are cracking down on the heart of the crime, the traffickers. Until traffickers and Johns face extremely harsh penalties all over the world, there will be human sex trafficking. Until every nation stops brushing prostitution under the rug, there will be human sex trafficking. Until victims are offered a second chance at life, there will be human sex trafficking.
I'm sick of hearing all the talk. I'm just sick of hearing people saying, I raise awareness. I told them about it. I want people to step up.
And the movement against slavery can start with you. So, what are you going to do about it?